Life before the apprentice was quite simple. It was a normal path of life in terms of I had a job. I was working for the public sector. I had a career planned out for me. Every year a pay rise and following the path, as it were, to 25 years and then retirement. But then given the opportunity of the apprentice, I was opened up to the whole world of what is horribly termed entrepreneurialism, but actually about business ownership. And because of that, I was inspired to want to go out and start my own company, and then also want to help lots of other people start theirs. Winning the actual apprentices was fantastic. Obviously, the first show, the first winner, there was a lot of media attention afterwards. But I got a bit disillusioned with the whole media aspect of it, because what I actually applied for was to receive some mentoring from somebody who'd been there, done it before, and also experience the world of business from an entrepreneurial kind of start-up phase. And I got that actually when I started working for Lord Sugar himself. The actual winning of the show was one lovely thing and in one event, but I got most of my learning out, which working the 2 years with Lord Sugar, building a company up from scratch, actually having to go out, find customers, producing websites, getting collateral together and doing all those fun stuff around business. And that's where the true learning came from. So my real prize wasn't actually the job, it was actually the learning on the job with somebody who'd been there, done it, got the t-shirt to prove it. Working for Lord Sugar was an amazing experience for me. I think the whole aspect of being mentored by somebody who knew how business worked was really, for me, opening up of a horizon, because I never knew anybody growing up who had run their own business or been involved in business themselves. So I had this limited view of what success was, which was actually going to work and become a manager or a director through the normal path. Actually working for him and actually being empowered to deliver results with a small company myself was incredibly inspiring. So working for him was brilliant. The first business I started after leaving was a cosmetic company. I put quite a bit of resources into that organisation, and unfortunately it never took off, because I learned that there wasn't enough demand for the service that I was actually putting out into the market. For me, there was an important lesson there in terms of I'd started to market to an audience of one, which was fantastic, because I was always going to buy what I promoted out there. But doing the research and actually learning actually what the need was where I actually saw that this business, the first business I started, was never going to be successful. The lessons learned from that allowed me to start up my second business, which is an events company, which I've been running since I left The Apprentice, which also has a speakers agency part of it, which has been doing really good job for a number of different high profile clients. That whole experience really taught me that even with my background, even with the contacts that I had, the experience I'd gone through, and the PR that I could demand around a particular business launch, there was still a number of things that I didn't know. So getting involved with my actual business partner, Paul Humphreys, we learned that there was a number of things that I could learn about how to actually start a small business from scratch. Because there's a big chasm between working for somebody else and having a PA, a marketing director and a finance director and picking up the phone and getting stuff, and actually you being all of those things in your own small business. So that lesson was really where we got the catalyst to want to start to actually promote business to a lot of other people, because I realised that you need to understand what the need is in the market, understand how you're actually going to promote that product, and actually get out and do it and make actual sales. So that whole aspect of actually failing in one business and then being successful in another was a really important journey. I just think here in the UK we're not too comfortable with failure as a term, because it's almost you become this pariah, no one can touch you. But our American cousins are very much more open to the whole experience that you've got to learn it by sometimes failing and then be able to build up and then be successful afterwards. I was really passionate about business as a levelling of the playing field, because regardless of your race, colour, creed or socioeconomic class, if you've got a good idea, you can create something that can generate an income for yourself. And particularly now in these austere times, we're going to need more people who aren't going to be relying on the public sector to generate them an income. We're not going to have pensions. We're going to be living for a much longer period of time. We need to now start empowering people about how they can create their own jobs. And that's not always about people going out and creating a Dragon's Den type business. It could be someone who is freelancing, somebody who is going to set themselves as a consultant. It could be somebody who wants to start a cookery business in their kitchen. There's a lot of different ways that normal people can be out there generating revenue for themselves through the vehicle of business. And I think what stopped a lot of people from doing that is that they've never known the language of business, because there's this mysterious veil around what business is, because there's a load of jargon around cash flows, around customer need, all these other stuff. And if we just broke that down and made people aware of how simple it can be to actually start a business and then really support their business idea, I think we're going to generate a new wave of entrepreneurial activity, which is really what's required now, because we're going to need those people to generate tax revenues, because the public sector is going to be cut. So we need more from the private sector to actually generate the income that we require in this country.